Every day, somewhere in the world, someone walks into a car dealership and spends the equivalent of several years of savings on a single purchase. They negotiate for hours, compare prices, ask for discounts, and finally drive away believing they got a great deal. But here's the real question. Who actually made more money in that transaction? The customer or the dealership? Most people believe that dealerships become rich simply by selling expensive cars. A 20 Indian rupees lakh car, a 50 Indian rupees lakh SUV, or even a luxury car worth more than a crore. It feels obvious. If the car costs this much, the dealer must be making locks on every sale. But reality tells a completely different story. In fact, many dealerships earn surprisingly little from selling a brand new car. Some even lose money on the sale itself, and still end the year making huge profits. How is that possible? How can a business sell products worth crores every month, sometimes at almost no profit, and still become one of the most successful businesses in the automotive industry? The answer lies in economics. Not just the economics of selling cars, but the economics of human psychology, cash flow, competition, and long-term customer relationships. Today, we're going behind the showroom doors. We'll uncover how dealerships really work, where the money actually comes from, why manufacturers need dealers, why banks love dealerships, and why one customer buying a single car can generate profits for years after driving it home. As the famous management thinker Peter Drucker once said, "The purpose of business is to create and keep a customer." That single sentence explains almost everything about the dealership business. Because the smartest dealerships aren't trying to sell you one car. They're trying to keep you as a customer for the next 10 years. And once you understand that, you'll never look at a car dealership the same way again. Let's think about something. Suppose you own a coffee shop. A customer walks in, buys one coffee, leaves. Your relationship with that customer ends. Now compare that with a car dealership. A customer buys a car today. Next year, they return for servicing. A few months later, they buy accessories. After 3 years, they purchase insurance. 5 years later, they trade in their old car. 7 years later, they buy another new vehicle. One customer, multiple transactions, over many years. That changes everything. A dealership isn't just selling a vehicle. It's building a long-term revenue relationship. This is exactly why economists often describe successful businesses as businesses that maximize customer lifetime value rather than just one-time profits. The car sale is only the beginning. Now imagine opening your own dealership. You find land in a prime location. You build a modern showroom. You create a service center. You hire technicians, sales executives, managers, reception staff, security guards, cleaning staff, finance specialists, marketing teams. Now fill your parking lot with hundreds of new vehicles. Suddenly, you realize something. You haven't sold a single car yet, but you've already invested an enormous amount of money. Every day your dealership stays open. Expenses continue. Employee salaries, electricity, air conditioning, internet, maintenance, advertising, software, insurance, taxes, interest payments. Everything costs money, which means every car sitting in your showroom represents capital that must eventually generate a return. The longer it sits unsold, the more expensive it becomes. This is why dealerships care so much about inventory turnover. Selling 10 cars quickly can often be better than selling 5 cars at slightly higher prices. Speed matters. Cash flow matters. Economics matters. At first glance, a dealership looks like a place that sells cars. But after looking behind the scenes, we discover something completely different. It's a business built on economics, relationships, cash flow, and multiple income streams working together. And now that we understand the foundation, the next question becomes even more fascinating. If dealerships don't make most of their money from selling new cars, then where does the real profit come from? In the next chapter, we'll open the books and reveal the hidden revenue streams that most customers never even notice. They create an industry worth trillions of dollars. Now we arrive at the biggest question in this entire documentary. If dealerships earn only a small profit from selling new cars, then how do they make millions every year? The answer is simple. They don't depend on one business. They depend on many businesses working together. Think of a dealership like an iceberg. The showroom, the shiny cars, the test drives, that's only the part you can see. The real business, the profitable business, is hidden underneath. Let's uncover it. Most customers believe this is where dealerships make their fortune. After all, A brand new car costs a lot of money. Surely the dealer is earning a huge profit, but that's not how it works. The manufacturer already decides most of the vehicle's pricing. The dealership buys the vehicle from the manufacturer and sells it in an extremely competitive market. Now imagine there are 5 dealerships selling the exact same model in one city. Every customer compares prices online. Everyone wants the biggest discount. If one dealer refuses to reduce the price, the customer simply walks into another showroom. This competition pushes prices down. That's why dealerships often accept very small profits just to complete the sale. In many markets, new vehicle sales generate the largest share of revenue, but relatively low gross margins compared with other departments. So why sell new cars at all? Because every new customer creates future opportunities. And that's where the real business begins. Now let's talk about something dealerships actually love. Used cars. Suppose a customer buys a new SUV. They trade in their old vehicle. The dealership buys that car, repairs a few scratches, changes the tires, cleans the interior, fixes small mechanical issues, and puts it back on sale. Unlike new cars, used cars don't have a fixed factory price. The dealer decides the purchase price, the refurbishment cost, and finally, the selling price. That gives dealerships much more flexibility. Sometimes, a used vehicle can generate far more profit than a brand new one. This is why many large dealership groups have expanded their certified pre-owned businesses. Because customers save money, and dealerships often earn better margins. It's a win for both sides. Now comes the department most customers spend the least time thinking about. The finance office. You choose your car, agree on the price. Then someone says, "Please come into my office to complete the paperwork." Most people believe the difficult part is over. Actually, the dealership is just entering one of its most profitable stages. Here's how it works. Suppose your bank is willing to finance your vehicle. Instead of visiting the bank yourself, the dealership arranges the loan for you. The process feels easier, faster, more convenient. In return, the bank pays the dealership a commission. Sometimes the dealership also earns money through permitted interest rate markups or lender incentives, depending on the lender, regulations, and the financing agreement. That means the dealership earns money without building a single engine, without manufacturing a single part, simply by connecting the customer and the lender. Economist Milton Friedman once said, "There is no such thing as a free lunch." Convenience almost always has an economic value. Someone pays for it, and someone earns from it. Now imagine you're buying a new car. Before handing over the keys, the dealership asks, "Would you like insurance?" Many customers say yes. It's easy. Everything gets completed in one place. The dealership forwards your information to an insurance company. The insurance company issues the policy, and the dealership receives a commission for facilitating the sale. Insurance commissions are a relatively small share of revenue, but are attractive because they require little additional capital investment. Again, the dealership didn't manufacture anything. It simply connected two businesses. This is one reason dealerships are often described as business ecosystems rather than simple retail stores. Now let's imagine something familiar. You buy a new car. Before delivery, the salesperson asks, "Would you like premium floor mats, seat covers, a dashboard camera, window tint, a larger infotainment screen, chrome accessories?" Each item looks inexpensive compared to the price of the car. If you've already spent 20 Indian rupees lakh, another 15,000 Indian rupees doesn't feel like much. This is called anchoring in psychology. Once our brain accepts a large number, smaller additions seem insignificant. The famous psychologist Daniel Kahneman, who won the Nobel Prize in economics, explained that people often rely on mental shortcuts rather than purely rational calculations. Nothing in life is as important as you think it is while you are thinking about it. In a dealership, customers are focused on getting their dream car. Accessories feel like small upgrades. But for the dealership, these upgrades can carry healthy profit margins and become another important revenue source. Now we arrive at the most important department of all, the service center. This is where dealerships quietly make money. Year after year. Think about it. A new car needs maintenance, oil changes, brake inspections, wheel alignment, engine diagnostics, battery replacement, air filters, tires, coolant, transmission fluid. The list never ends. Every visit creates revenue. Every repair creates revenue. Every replacement part creates revenue. And unlike new car sales, Customers don't negotiate every small service. Most simply want their car repaired correctly. Industry data consistently shows that service and parts operations are among the largest contributors to dealership profits because they generate recurring business from existing customers. Now imagine one customer. They buy one vehicle. Over the next 10 years, they return again, and again, and again. The dealership earns income long after the original sale. That's why experienced dealership owners often say, "We're not selling today's car, we're earning tomorrow's service customer." This brings us to one of the most important concepts in business: customer lifetime value. Imagine two customers. Customer A buys one car, never returns. Customer B buys one car, services it every year, buys insurance, purchases accessories, trades it in after 5 years, and buys another car. Which customer is more valuable? Obviously, customer B. The first sale simply opened the relationship. Everything that followed created long-term profit. This is exactly why dealerships invest in customer service. Follow-up calls, free vehicle inspections, loyalty programs, service reminders, festival offers. All these activities are designed for one purpose: to make sure you come back. So now we know something most customers never realize. A dealership doesn't survive because it sells expensive cars. It survives because every customer creates multiple opportunities to earn revenue. New cars, used cars, financing, insurance, accessories, repairs, service. One customer, many businesses. But this still leaves one fascinating question unanswered. If dealerships have so many ways to make money, why do some dealerships still fail? By now, we've learned something surprising. A dealership doesn't become successful just because it sells expensive cars. It becomes successful only if it manages its money wisely. Only businesses with good financial discipline survive. Because here's the truth: a dealership can sell hundreds of cars and still lose money. How? The answer lies in one word: cash flow. Walk into any dealership. You'll probably see 100, 200, or even 500 brand new cars. It looks impressive, but every one of those cars represents money that's tied up. Most dealerships don't pay for every car entirely with their own cash. Instead, they rely on floor plan financing, a special type of inventory loan that lets them stock vehicles and pay interest until they're sold. The longer a car remains unsold, the more financing costs it generates. Imagine a car sitting in the showroom for 6 months. Every month, interest keeps adding up. Insurance costs continue. Maintenance continues. The car slowly becomes older. And when a newer model arrives, the dealership may have to offer discounts just to clear the inventory. That means the longer a car sits, the less money the dealership earns. Sometimes, it even loses money. Now imagine interest rates suddenly increase. Monthly loan payments become more expensive. Families postpone buying cars. Sales slow down. But the dealership's expenses don't stop. Employee salaries still need to be paid. Electricity bills still arrive. Loan interest keeps growing. That's why economic downturns hit dealerships hard. A showroom can look full of cars, but without customers, those cars become expensive assets instead of profitable products. As investor Warren Buffett once said, "Only when the tide goes out do you discover who's been swimming naked." During a strong economy, almost every dealership looks successful. But when demand falls, the industry is also changing faster than ever. Electric vehicles need fewer moving parts. Online platforms allow customers to compare prices instantly. Some companies even sell directly to consumers, reducing the traditional role of dealerships. So, does that mean dealerships will disappear? Probably not. Instead, they are evolving. Today's dealerships are investing in digital sales, home delivery, certified used cars, EV servicing, subscription models, and better customer experiences. The businesses that adapt will continue to grow. The ones that refuse to change will slowly disappear. History has shown this again and again. Markets reward businesses that evolve. So, what have we learned? A car dealership is not simply a place that sells cars. It's an ecosystem of businesses working together. The showroom attracts customers. Used cars improve margins. Only businesses with good financial discipline survive. Why big dealer groups keep growing. But here's something even more interesting. Have you ever noticed that many dealership owners don't stop at one showroom? Instead, they keep expanding. One city, then another. One brand, then multiple brands. Soon, A single business group owns 10, 20, or even 50 dealerships. Why? Because once a dealership develops a successful system, it becomes easier to repeat that system in new locations. The finance team already knows how to arrange loans. The service department already knows how to manage repairs. Marketing strategies are already tested. Customer data helps improve future sales. In business, this is called economies of scale. As the business grows, certain costs don't increase at the same speed as revenue. One marketing campaign can support several dealerships. One management team can supervise multiple locations. One technology platform can serve thousands of customers. The larger the network becomes, the more efficient the business can become. This is one reason some dealership groups today are worth billions of dollars. They're no longer just selling cars. They're operating a nationwide business system. Now let's leave economics for a moment and talk about psychology, because buying a car is rarely just a financial decision. Think about it. People spend weeks, sometimes months, researching the perfect vehicle, watching reviews, comparing features, talking to family members, visiting multiple dealerships. By the time they finally enter a showroom, they've already imagined themselves driving that car. Psychologists call this the endowment effect. People begin feeling ownership, even before they actually own something. That emotional connection makes the final purchase much easier. Another powerful factor is social proof. If everyone around us praises a particular model, our confidence increases. If we keep seeing advertisements, influencers, and happy owners, the vehicle begins to feel like the obvious choice. The dealership understands all of this. That's why test drives matter. That's why cars are displayed under bright lights. That's why salespeople encourage you to sit behind the steering wheel. They're not just showing a product. They're helping you imagine a future for decades. The dealership model hardly changed. Manufacturers built the cars. Dealers sold them. Customers visited showrooms. Everything followed the same pattern. Then companies like Tesla challenged this idea. Instead of depending heavily on independent dealerships, they focused on direct sales and online ordering in many markets. Customers could configure a car online, place an order, and wait for delivery. This forced the entire industry to rethink how cars are sold. Traditional dealerships responded by improving their own digital experience. Online booking, virtual showrooms, home test drives, digital paperwork. The lesson was simple. Technology doesn't always destroy an industry. Sometimes, it forces that industry to become better so. What is the biggest lesson from the economics of owning a car dealership? It's this. Successful businesses don't rely on a single source of income. They create multiple ways to generate value. One customer, many opportunities. One transaction, many future relationships. One sale, years of recurring business. This idea applies far beyond automobiles. Restaurants, banks, airlines, technology companies, streaming services. Almost every successful company today follows the same principle. Acquire a customer once. Serve them well. Keep them coming back. Because finding a new customer is expensive, keeping an existing customer is far more profitable. Business strategist Peter Drucker once said, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." The most successful dealerships don't wait for customers to return. They actively create reasons for customers to come back. And perhaps, that's the real business they're in. Not selling cars, but building trust.